Okay, question 1. This is the Chapter 9, Grade 8, May-June review of linear relations, interpreting graphs, table of values, and equations, and being able to create 2 when given 1. The first one says true or false. The coefficient of the equation that matches the graph is 2. So we have a Cartesian plane, and we have points plotted here. We have, I'll use the red. We have this point, we have this point, we have this point, this point, this point, and this point. So it says the coefficient that matches the graph is 2. Does anyone know, or what's a strategy we can use to figure out what the coefficient is? What would we do here? Campbell, what would you do? If you make a table, you can actually take all of those points, like this point here, and interpret it as an x value and a y value. This point here, the x value is 3, and the y value is 5. Right? So it's the point that represents that is 3, 5. Right? Now what I should have probably done is started with 1, 2, or 0 actually would be even better. We'll start with 0. I should have. All right. There, that's better. So let's look at 0. When x is 0, so this is their x-axis, right? It even says it right there. And there's 0. So on the x-axis, when x is 0, what is the y value for this graph? It is negative 1. When x is 1, the y value is 1. And when x is 2, the y value is 3. So when we've put 4 points on this line, we can figure out the coefficient. And we said the coefficient of an equation is the difference in the y value divided by the difference in the x value. It's also called the slope, but we don't worry about that until grade 10, maybe grade 9. So the difference here, it's going up 2 each time. And here, it's going up 1. And we say up 1 by using a plus 1 or a negative 1 if it's going down 1. But it's going up 1 and down. So the difference of y is 2. The difference in x is 1, which means the coefficient, or the slope in my equation, is 2. So therefore, if I was to put my x and y and the relationship between them, 2 would be the coefficient, and therefore the answer is true. Okay, 2 is the coefficient. What is the constant? Negative 1. And we could figure that out by taking that equation and just substitute the first pair, 0 and negative 1. And an interesting thing, when your x value is 0, the y value is always telling you what your constant will be, right? Because 0, when you make x 0, no matter what the coefficient is, the term itself will be valued at 0. So in order to make them balanced, you need a constant of whatever the other side is to keep them balanced. Okay, we call that, what's another word for the constant in an equation? What do we call that? The y-intercept. Okay? So when you make your table of values, when your x value is 0, the y value will be your constant, and the difference in the y divided by the difference of x will be the coefficient. That's the important things to remember. All right? Question 2 says true or false. Oh, there's a. To find the coefficient of a linear equation, use the formula difference in x divided by difference in y. That's false. What should it be, Declan? Right, these should be reversed. So the answer is false. Question 3, true or false? The constant in the equation that matches the graph is negative 1. Can we do it without making a table of values, Mr. Ballum? Think about this for a second. Okay, how do we get the constant in the equation? The constant is also known as the y-intercept, right? So where does this line cross the y-axis? Where does it cross this line, that line? Where does the line cross that red line? At what value? Negative 1. So therefore, the constant is negative 1. I'll show you. So let's make the table of values again. Is this the same table of values as the last one? It's the same one, isn't it? Right? So it's x and y. It was 0 and it was negative 1. It was 1 and 1. It was 2 and 3, and I'll stop there. So if I look here, the difference here is 2. The difference here is 1. I should actually use positive 2 and positive 1. So in my equation, just doing exactly what we did before, it's 2. Now instead of taking this pair this time, I'm going to take the second pair, 1 and 1. So if I put a 1 for the x and a 1 for the y, I have something that says 2 is equal to 1. Oh, 2 is equal to 1, which is not true. The only way that can be true is if I subtract 1 from both sides. Right now it's equal. And the constant in this equation is minus 1. But an easier way to do that, like I said before, is this line that we're looking for the equation for. Wherever it crosses the y axis, it's called the y-intercept point. That will be the constant of your equation. Does that make sense? So if I gave you the equation 2x plus 1 equals y, right, without actually even knowing what that line would look like, I know it's going to cross here somewhere. And it might be like this, or it might be like this, or it might be like this. Who knows? But whatever it is, it's going to cross through that point, right? True or false? When x is 100, the value of y in the equation 5x minus 1 equals y is 499. So if I take the equation 5x minus 1 equals y, and I substitute 100 for x, I get y is equal to 499, correct? So the answer is true. When x is 100 in the equation 5x minus 1 equals y, y will be equal to 499. Question 5 says, plot the points from the following table of values, then write the equation that matches the line. Well, let's do that right now. So I'll take this and bring it over here. So our x values at 4, 10. So the first thing we have to realize is that I have to have a range between 10 and 34. Now, if I count these, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I got 19 of them. So what happens if I make each one worth 2? How many numbers would I have going up there? 38. So I'm just going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36. I have 38 points now going up that y-axis, right? And over on the other side, I need from 4 to 12. I have more than 12 here, so I can make each one of these worth 1. So I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay. Now I could have made them. I could have went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but I just didn't. I don't need to write every single number. I know that if this one's 2, then this one here is 3, right? I know that, so I just saved myself a little bit of work. So it says plot the points. So the first point we're going to plot is x is 4, y is 10. So x is 4, y is 10 would be right there. And if you want, you can actually even write the coordinate on it, 4, 10. Next one will be 6 and 16, which is right there. The next one is 8 and 22, roughly there. 10 and 28. Uh-oh. I think I screwed up, didn't I? Did I screw up? Where am I at? 8 and 22, yeah. 10 and 28. So 10 and 28, 26. Oh, yeah, it's right there, 28. Is that right there? 10 and 28? Yep. And then the last one, 12 and 34, would be right here. If I connect those dots, I notice that they have a linear relationship. They make a line. It says, what would the value of x be if y was 111? So if I kept this going up for a long ways up, I went to 40, it kept going all the way up through the ceiling, and y was 111, and then I came across from that line to here and dropped it down to see what the x value would be. What would it be? So how am I going to do this? What's a strategy to figure out if y is 111, what would x be? Somebody besides Declan, anybody? What do I need here to do this? Ballin, what do I need? I need to wake up. You need a coffee? No? You need an equation. So let's look at our equation. The difference here is going up by 6. The difference here is going up by 2. What does that tell me about the coefficient? It's going to be 3. So that goes here. Take your first ordered pair, or any ordered pair for that matter, but I'm going to take the first one, 4 and 10. Switch my x for 4 and my y for 10. In order for 12 to equal 10, I need to subtract 2, which means I need to subtract 2, which means the constant is minus 2. And if I was to actually keep the slide going down, it would probably be better if I was to go here. It would probably be intercepting the y at negative 2, roughly. So now that I have my equation, 3x minus 2 equals y, I want to substitute 111 for y. And that's what I would have. How do I figure out what x is going to be if that's what I substituted for? What do I have to do? I have to isolate the variable, right? Add 2 to both sides. 3x equals 1, 1, 3. Is that right? I think I might have made a mistake here, but anyway, whatever. 113 divided by 3 equals 37 and 2/3. 37 and 2/3, or 37.6 repeating. Is that right? Did anyone do that question? Is that what you got? Okay, good. All right. Question 6 is make a table of values from this graph. So we're going to put our x and our y. And I'm just going to look at these points. Right there is a 1, 1. Right there is a 2, 6. And right there is what appears to be a 3, 11. Is that right? Roughly. All right. Difference is 5. Difference is 1. So in my equation, 5 divided by 1 is 5. So that's going to go right here as the coefficient. Take my first ordered pair of 1, 1. Substitute x for 1 and y for 1. 5 does not equal 1, but if I subtract 4 from it, well, 5 plus 4 is 1? Okay. 5 take away 4. So that's our equation. Then what is the value of y when x is 10? So take my equation. When x is 10, substitute 10. You get 46 equals y. Okay? I know it's kind of a lot to process on a Monday morning that's dark and cold, but hopefully you can watch the video again if you're going to, because I think a lot of people are retesting this one, right? I think a lot of people. Question 7 says graph the equation. So it's 3x minus 1 equals y. If I'm going to create a graph, Mr. Ballin, what's the first thing I probably should make? Table of values. All right. So when you make a table of values and you don't have any numbers, what do you do for x? You probably should make them 4 random values. What are the best 4 random values to make? Even better than 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3. If we use 0, do I even have to substitute to get my y value? What's my y value when x is 0? It's the constant, right? So what will it be? It'll be minus 1. If you don't believe me, just take your equation and substitute the first x value you put, which was 0. Substitute it in. And you'll find that it still equals negative 1, right? For the next one, take your 3x minus 1 equals y. Take your next x value, which is 1, and substitute that into your equation. And you'll find that the y value for that one is 2. Now, if you know that this is a linear relation, do I need to substitute any more? What will the next y value be? 5. Do you see why it is? It's going up plus 3 here. So we know it's going to be constant. It makes this 5 and makes this one 8. Now, if you don't believe me, just take this last one just to double check. 3x minus 1 equals y. 3 multiplied by the x value, which is 3, is 9 minus 1, which is still 8. Right? Now that you have your table of values, look at your range here. Am I going to plot that first one? Not with this graph, am I? This Cartesian plane doesn't have negative y values. So I'm just going to plot these three right here. Okay? My range and my x goes up only 3 points. I have more than that line. I have enough to go 8, so I'm going to make this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, so when x is 1, right over here, when x is 1, y is 2. So this is 1, 2, which is right here. I'll put it down here. The next one is 2, 5, which is going to be right here. This is 2, 5. And the last one is 3, 8, which is going to be right here. And when I connect those dots, I graphed my linear relation. And I can go actually to, it's going to cross at the negative thing, so I'm going to say it's probably right around here somewhere. Because if I was to keep this going down, that would roughly be negative 1, which is your constant. Okay. Any questions with 7? Question 8, your last question, says the cost of going paintballing is $20 for rental, plus $4 per pack of 100 pack of paintballs. Create an equation for this situation and make the appropriate table of values. So, X is going to represent number of packs of paintballs. So if for every pack of paintballs I buy, I have to pay $4, 4 times the number of packs I buy will be the cost of my paintballs, right? Because if I buy 2 packs of paintballs, it's going to be $4 times 2. If I buy 10 packs of paintballs, it's going to be $4 times 10. But no matter how many I buy, I have to pay $20 to go paintballing, okay? All right. And y can equal the total cost. So that would be an equation I could use. Okay. X will be the number of packs of paintballs I buy, and y will be the total cost. So 1 pack, 2 packs, 3 packs, 4 packs, 5 packs, 6 packs. We're only going to do the first 3 anyway. Now what we're going to do is substitute in a table of values, X being the number of packs of paintballs, Y being the total cost. If I buy 1 pack of paintballs, how much will it cost me? Nope, $24, because I have to pay $4 for the paintballs plus $20 to go. No tax, tax-free. If I buy 2 packs of paintballs, nope, substitute it right here. 4 times 2 is $8 for the paintballs plus $20 to go. $28. And the last one we'll do is 3 will be $32. 4 times 3 is 12. $12 for the paintballs plus $20 to go. Total cost would be $32. Does everyone see how we got that table of values from that equation? Right? X represents the number of packs of paintballs. Y represents your total cost. So my range here is from 24 to 32. Does anyone know if I'm going to graph that? Do I want to start? I can't start here at 2, can I? I can't start here at 24 unless I do what? What is it, Emma? Draw that backwards or sideways W. Yeah. So if I'm going to compress that line, and really what that is just like I took that line and squished it down like a can. I'm going to squish that line down, and I'm going to ignore 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. All those numbers I'm going to ignore. And I'm going to start at 24. So I'm going to go 24 to 32. I'm going to go up by 2s. So 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, and 38. Okay? And this little thing here means I squish down all the numbers from 2 up to 22. They're missing, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph them. So 124 is right here. 228 is right here. 332 is right here. There's my line. And that's all I have to do. Right. And just if I wanted to, I could actually write on this line 4x plus 20 equals y. Every point you find on that, every point that you find on that line will work within the equation 4x plus 20 equals y, including fractional bags. If I was to buy 2.5 bags of paintballs, if I put 2.5 in here, so 4 times 2.5 bags plus 20, that would be 10 plus 20. When x is 2.5, which is right here, what would my y value be? 30, right? And if I look across there, when x is 2.5 bags of paintballs, I will have to spend $30. Okay, any questions on that? We're good?